Hey guys, welcome back to the Tiki Kev shop. Today's lesson in building tiki bars is I get a lot of questions about how do I put the brackets on to mount the bar top. So I'm going to go over that with you today. Now, in videos past, years past, if you guys remember, if you watch any of the videos, I would always use L brackets. Now, this is much smaller than what I would normally use. I don't use them anymore. I just had this sitting around. So typically on the frame, they would be behind the cedar, flush with the top like that, and we would screw them into the framing, and then we would have to notch out the back of the cedar to the thickness of this. Last year, and I've been getting a lot of questions about this, last year I decided to change things up, and it's a much easier process. You don't have to notch out every board where there's a bracket. So I'm going to hand the camera over to Anthony, and I'm going to show you guys the new way of doing this, okay? And what we're going to use is, where's that bracket? We're now going to use a 12-inch straight bracket. So I'm going to give the camera to Anthony, and I'm going to explain how to do this. So as years past, like I said, we would use the L bracket, but now what we're going to do is we're going to put the bracket, and we're going to screw it straight into the frame. But if you notice, it's sticking up. So what would happen is between braces, you have an empty spot. Now, there's a couple ways. If you do it this way, there's a couple ways you could do this. This is the same thickness as a piece of Lawan. So if you didn't want to do what I'm going to show you, which is routering these in, you can always set those on top and cut strips of Lawan so it fills in the gap between your bracing. But instead of doing all that, what we're going to do is I'm going to router these in. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So the first thing we did is I made a jig for the router we use. And basically I just use a small trim router. It's not one of those big routers. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your jig, which we pre-made last year, I guess, at some point. And we're gonna screw that jig in here just like that. And make sure when you're on your framing, you want to make sure there's no nails or staples or anything like that. You certainly don't want your router bit hitting that. Now, I already had this screwed in, but I forgot I was going to make a video, so I took it back apart. Now I'm screwing it back in. Okay, so now your jig is set up. And I don't know if you can zoom in. Basically, it's just notching out. It's just a flat router bit. And your router bit is going to be the same thickness from the plate as what your metal bracket is. And we made this jig, so when this fits inside, it's going to be just slightly wider than what that is. With the oh, and if there's rope lighting, always take them off the clips and move it down so you don't hit your rope lighting. Let me unhook that and unhook that. Okay, should be clear of the rope lighting. Okay, so as you can see, it's notched out, the thickness of that. You take your template off. And now your bracket will fit nicely right inside there, and it's perfectly flush with the top of your plate here. And that's about it. You screw it in. I use panhead screws to screw it in. And then this bar is only going to be 6 feet deep, so I only put 2 here. The front of the bar is going to be 8 feet, so I'll put 3 across the front, and then obviously 2 on the side. And then where there's a cabinet, you screw in from the framing up to your bar top. So this the bar top will get screwed down, but this gives extra support on the outside so it doesn't warp on you over time. All right, if you have any questions, and if you like the information I send out, give us a like on YouTube and Facebook. All right, from Tiki Kev Shop, Tiki Kev out.